right. Will indies overtake AAA gaming? When I was thinking of this topic, hot issue right now. The top three
Is it
indie
hot? It's
quote
hot?
it's hot.
No,
So
okay, my bad.
you have Claire Obscure Expedition 33, the recently released Hollow Knight Silk Song,
Oh yeah.
and I guess you could say Helldivers. I don't know if that counts as an indie game. But those are just three examples of smaller budget, smaller studios making these, as we could say, feature with a fraction of the budget that these AAA games do, and they are selling in the high million, double digit million, while you have AAA games falling by the wayside. Monster Hunter World, who has an optimization, it's sold, but it's suffering. Constant needing updates. You have Lost Soul Aside that people were saying that hey, it needs a day one patch just to function properly, and that's just to get the game booted and started. You have so many AAA games that launch in a broken, and they just feel like, and we'll get to it. We got their money. These indies are just like, hey, we can't afford to fail. We're gonna hit them like it's 1999, damn it, and keep it moving. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so just like correction, Helldivers 2 is not an indie game. It is developed by Arrowhead Game Studio, who is published by Sony Interact. So they do not qualify for an indie game, but yes, it was developed by a small time studio, I guess. But just want to clarify that.
That's not one up somebody, but all right.
No. Just information. But it still was developed by a small indie studio, not indie, but small studio. So I just feel like this is just coming off the heels of live service games, where all these AAA studios was, oh, we need a live service game, we need a live service game, we need a milk and nickel and dime, and that was just a craze at the time for major studios because they looking at the numbers like, hey, the game might have sold and made $1 billion, but the live service made $8 billion. So I mean, just looking at the numbers, and that was a very detrimental thing to the industry. And so kind of like release games unfinished, or they took out things in the release versions and then sold you season passes, like we said. Like, this should have been in the game all along. So they just nickel and dime it. This is like just good competition. Like, everything on the marketplace need competition. So AAA games need indie games to do good, so you can push AAA to get their shit together, in my opinion. Like, the good shit is gonna come out on top at the end of the day. It's gonna be rewarded. So you make a complete game, like some of these indie games, they might not be the most polished, but they're fun. And that's kind of like the renaissance of gaming when we was growing up. Like, Bully wasn't a very good looking game, but it was fun. And there's so many other games like Saints Row. It wasn't the best looking game, it wasn't GTA, but it was fun. And you can't really say that about a lot of AAA games that's been coming out in the last decade. And so they're suffering, but yet they're surviving off live service. It's just kind of, I feel like in a cult like level, yes, indie games can overtake AAA, but the money behind AAA is always gonna have them kind of financial sense. But indie games, like, we've played indie games, we went out of our way to buy indie games. I just feel like indie games are here to stay forever as long as AAA games are still pushing out and selling broken product. So I guess I'm kind of like saying yes and no at the same time, but in different phases of yes and no. I mean, what do you
Well,
feel? Do you feel like indie games are overtaking AAA?
and
And
to add,
in a financial sense, or in just in a fan's relationship? I don't know how to phrase that, but just in a fan sense or in money sense, they're overtaking AAA.
okay, so you added that to it.
Yeah, because that's
Excuse
that's the that's why I said no. Like, they're never going to compete with the money that AAA games are back, but yet they can win over the hearts of the fans more. They can be championed by the fans more, and they're always going to have a place in the marketplace. So in that sense, yes, they can overtake. Because I mean, a AAA game. What's a AAA game that just came out that's not? I mean, so like Destiny. Do you think Destiny fans could be out over some indie game? I think so. I think they could, and I think indie games could have a longer shelf life because they're good, and so if they do updates, the indie fans will support it for way longer than a broken AAA game. Like, so that is my yes. But as far as money that is back behind some of these projects versus indie games and AAA games, it's not gonna overtake.
To add on to your correction, you wanted to take Helldivers 2 off, just to clarify. Helldivers 2 was made on a second party partnership, and some people do consider it an indie, but we'll take Helldivers 2 off and we will add the original Hollow Knight and we will go with Balatro. So we'll go with that. To answer your question, for popularity,
Yeah.
indies right now are highly popular. Like you said, the fans, this and that, and etc. They are overtaking AAA because they are putting out a product and they have the mindset or the mantra, is this game fun to play? Never mind the realistic hair physics, the peach fuzz on the
the,
cheek,
the
and ray
the
tracing.
fingernail quality.
Yeah, never mind all of that. As a 35-year-old gamer, I have never bought a video game on how the light shimmers in the puddle when I kill someone. That has never sold me. To also answer your second question, the financial, I say yes to that too because I'm gonna give an example. I think it was last year or whenever it came out. Final Fantasy 16 launched on the PS5, a time exclusive, and I believe in the first month it sold 3.5 million. That's pretty good on just
Hmm.
one system. They've never updated those figures. And Square Enix has said that they well, I'm not getting caught up. The publisher got went public and was saying that they were disappointed with the sales. Now they've never updated them, like I said, so we don't know the exact total of sales it made when it came to PC and then Xbox. Well, Xbox, they said it only sold around 40,000 copies. So I don't know why they were so gung ho to push to get it on Xbox when Xbox players don't buy games. They just wait for Game Pass. But the reason why I say yes to financially is because you have this AAA, high hundreds of millions of dollars, AAA game, Final Fantasy 16, that probably sold comparable into, we'll say, the single digit millions. Let's just say 8 million, just to, and I believe they charge $70. Whereas you have an indie game like the original Hollow Knight, if I remember correctly, has sold 12 to 15 million, even though there's a huge difference in their pricing. But because it sold significantly so much more than the other game, that money has to outweigh itself. And then because indie, majority of them self-publish and they're only digital copies or they work with someone later on, majority of that money goes back to them rather than
Hmm.
the splits and etc. and everything. So I do believe indies are and can overtake AAA gaming industry. Me personally, I feel are way caught up the shit that does not matter. Like, is this game? And indies are like, hey, I want to make a fun. Some AAA people are, I want to make this game where when the rays of sunlight come through the window and it flickers and shimmers off her hair and you can see each. No one gives a fuck about it. I've never bought a game because like, oh my god, do you see how the god rays come through the window? I don't care. And that's something that I was talking to you about earlier. Does AAA developers make games for the consumer or are you making it for the critic?
No,
Because I
they're
think
making it for the
ray tracing
shareholders. They're making
or,
it for
or
the
them.
shareholders.
Because me personally, I think ray tracing is a waste of time. It is a waste of technology. It does not matter. Or matter of fact, I even give you another example. You can take this, whether it's indie or whatnot. No Man's Sky, aka One Man's Lie, has become everything Starfield should have been. It is a
Yeah.
true explorational game. And now they've made it to where you can make the ships yourself in the game. You go off planet into space stations, all this in real time. And once again, they gave it for what? They gave it away for the
But let's not
gave it for
let's
the
not let's not forget when No Man's Sky launched, it was very
it did.
hollow.
It did. It
It
launched
did
a
over promise and under deliver on release date.
yes they
It
did. Yes
eventually
they did.
became, everything that it said it was going to be. It just took a little time.
You are absolutely correct. And that's why No Man's Sky is quote unquote the Cinderella story. When a game launches in such a bad state, everyone says, hey, will they pull a No Man's Sky? And that is becoming too much of a problem, relying on fix it later rather than just make it good now.
Hey, cause let's not forget, everybody thought they was gonna fix Anthem after release, and it was abandoned.
And that's very sad. Even though the success of that game weighed on the Iron Man simulator, because I mean, hey, That's probably why Ian and everybody even ought to tolerate it. Because hey, you can fly around like Iron Man. That is true. That is very true. But I do believe this is just my opinion. Indies are pushing hard right now. They are coming correct to hit you in your wallet, but not drain you.
Not nickel
Because
and
like you
dime you.
said, thank you. Because like I said, hey, you want to make something that's fun to play, you enjoy it, and then you move on. It's not a live service. It's not a forever game. Hey, we're trying to tell the story.
So yeah, I do agree with a lot, if not most, of what you said about indie games. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And once again, we are your hosts, Trice and Infamous.